breach of privilege by honorable members, including members of powers and privileges. We go to 3.2, that is section 6, the powers and procedures and rules. I don't see the challenges. We go to 3.2, subsection 7, that is delegated county legislation. We go to page 56, that is the committee business during the period under review. Its evaluation and performance. The number of sittings is 19. Challenges, that is on page 57. The county executive committee members have not generated subsidiary regulations to operationalize acts approved by the county assembly. We go to 3.2, subsection 8, that is the powers and privileges. We go to its performance and its evaluation and performance. The number of sittings, none. Reports, none. Challenges, breach of privilege by honorable members, including the members of powers and privileges committee. We go to 3.2, subsection 9, that is the liaison committee. We go straight to page 60. That is the table of evaluation and its performance. The number.
But Chair, since this is the report of the liaison committee, you can quickly read the mandate, and then from there you can go straight to the committee business under review, and then observations, and then recommendations.
Thank you for your guidance. I go back to 3.2, that is subsection 9, that is the liaison committee, which is tabling this report. Mandate of the committee. The mandate of the committee on liaison is obtained in standing order 206, that is subsection 2, and states that the liaison committee shall 2A, guide and coordinate the operations, policies, and mandate of all committees. B, deliberate and apportion the annual operating budget among the committees. C, consider the programs of all committees, including their need to travel and sit away from the presence of assembly. D, ensure that committees submit reports as required by standing orders. E, determine whether necessary the committees to deliberate on any matter. F, give such advice relating to work and mandate of select committees as it may consider necessary. 3, the liaison committee shall consider reports of committees that have not been deliberated by the assembly and shall report to the assembly on the consideration of such reports. We go to committee business during the period under review, that is the evaluation and its performance table on page 60. The number of sittings, 8. Challenges. Liaison committee's mandate undermined by committees getting liaison's committee mandate undermined by committees getting approval to hold meetings outside the presence without the approval of liaison committee. 4.0, committee observations. The committee made the following observation from the various committees' progress reports. 1, no bills were passed by various committees during the time under review. Save for Money Bill, Kericho County Finance Bill 2023. 2, few sectoral committees conducted site visits, yet it is an important oversight tool to measure departmental performance, more so in the implementation of budgeted programs and projects. This was occasioned by lack of adequate logistical support in terms of transport. 3, So a number of statements raised and committed to various committees have been responded to, others were still pending due to delay or no response at all from the County Executive Committee of members charge of various counties departments. 4, the committee members and secretariat did not have training on specific mandates of each committee during the period. 5, most of the committees during the period experienced challenge of quorum, occasioned by overlapping schedule of meetings and lack of space to conduct committee meetings at the presence of the assembly. 6, the county executive committee members do not develop regulations on the acts in place for subsequent approval by relevant assemblies committee for better running of the devolved functions. 7, the county executive committee members in charge of various departments fail or delay in acting on the recommendations of the county assembly as contained in several committee reports. 8, most committees of the county assembly did not receive quarterly reports from the departments of the county executives as well as county assembly as contained in section 166 of the Public Finance Management Act. 9, at some instances, the committees during execution of their mandate were not facilitated in terms of relevant personnel such as legal officers, research officers, and sergeant at arms, among others, so the committees require technical advice, among others, in the execution of their mandates. 5.0, committee's recommendation. The liaison committee recommends that 1, the committees of the county assembly should fast track, generate, and where necessary, the existing acts and regulations that are under the jurisdiction for better running the devolved functions. 2nd, the sectorial committees conducted site visits on projects implemented by the county executive as a means of exercising oversight role and ensuring funds allocated to the project are utilized appropriately and effectively for the intended purpose. 3, the county assembly service board ensures that there is availability of motor vehicles and fully constituted secretariat for committees during the oversight visits. This implies that the county assembly vehicles be reserved and given priority for use by the committees on their oversight role and any other work assigned to them. 4, the committees of the county assembly finalized any pending business and presented to the House for dispensation as soon as practically possible. Each assembly committee chairperson and members enforce standing order number 182 on members who fail to attend the committee sittings. Number 6, the county assembly service board conducts regular training of committees members and secretariat on specific areas for better performance of their mandate. Number 7, standing orders number 177 and 206 be adhered to by all the county assemblies committees on meetings outside the presence of the assembly. Number 8, the Committee on Implementation enforces the provisions of Section 39 of the County Government Act 2012 and Kericho County Assembly Standing Order number 196 in compelling the county executive to act on the county assembly's resolution. 6.0, acknowledgement. The committee wishes to thank the office of the Speaker and the Clerk of the Assembly for the necessary support extended to it in the execution of its mandate. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is my pleasant duty, pursuant to Standing Order number 195, to present the progress report of the various committees from the period 1st July to 31st December 2023 for consideration by this Honorable House. Chairman Liaison Committee, that is the Deputy Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I call upon member of Liaison Committee, Honorable Peter Keboy, to second the report.
All right, thank you. So, honorable members, I now propose the question that this House adopts the report of Liaison Committee for the half-year progress report from 1st July 2023 to 31st December 2023. The floor is now open for contribution. All right, there's none. All right, I'll give to Peter Kemai since you had a bond, and then I'll give to Honorable Hezron Nyatich, Golden Dogon, in that order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for the opportunity that you have granted to me. I want to echo the Liaison Committee for the good work that they have done. And based on the recommendation from each and every committee, Mr. Speaker, sir, you realize that the committees are facing a lot of challenges in terms of facilitation. We are struggling when it comes to site visits, or maybe even to have time to do a report. We normally have a lot of challenges. So as much as we are struggling on this, I think we are facing the challenges in terms of facilitation. So we urge the concern that when there is need of facilitation, be provided on time so that we accomplish our work on time. Mr. Speaker, sir, you realize also there was a statement that there was a report that I was following as the chair for water. And following the progress report, I was to give the report to this to the floor of the House. But the department or the clerk for this county assembly denied that the report should not be tabled here because there was no statement which was raised at the floor of the House. So I'm urging, what is the mandate? What is the mandate of the committee? Until the statement is raised so that the committees are given the opportunities to work on the plans, or it is mandate of each and every committee to do the follow-up pertaining their programs in their aligned committee. So I'm urging that we should up our game and give us the right direction, because if we go under the direction of one person in this assembly, I think we are heading nowhere, and it's like we are not having the right direction as the committee. So I'm urging, through you, the chair, you give us a clear information to this House so that we know, is it because that the statement has been raised so that we do our work, or we can do our work pertaining the departments. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
All right, that is noted. I will respond to that inquiry as the chair today. So, Honorable Hezron Nyatich, your contribution.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, sir, for the opportunity you have granted me, Mr. Speaker, so that I can rise to support the motion before us, Mr. Speaker, and to use the platform to echo the Committee on Liaison, Mr. Speaker, for a well-prepared report. It's a comprehensive and it's a detailed report, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this report, Mr. Speaker, on the AFIA progress report, Mr. Speaker, is an eye-opener, Mr. Speaker, to various committees, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I think this report should be always be done so that we can catch, Mr. Speaker, on our performance, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, first, I want to thank the membership of the Lands, Housing and Physical Planning and Settlement Committee, Mr. Speaker, for being really a formidable team, Mr. Speaker, who have demonstrated that they have the ability, they have a calling, Mr. Speaker, and they have commitment in whatever we are doing, Mr. Speaker. For the second time consecutively, Mr. Speaker, you have been leading, Mr. Speaker. Last report, Mr. Speaker, we had almost 42 sittings, Mr. Speaker, and agendas to deliberate on, Mr. Speaker. The second report, Mr. Speaker, is 44 sittings, Mr. Speaker. The second one following is 35, Mr. Speaker. So it means on how we are committed, Mr. Speaker. And we are not just sitting for the sake of sitting, Mr. Speaker. If you see the agendas, Mr. Speaker, is well stipulated, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, although we have done such, Mr. Speaker, we are disappointed at some point, Mr. Speaker, on the administration, Mr. Speaker, of the Assembly, Mr. Speaker. There is one report, Mr. Speaker, which is still haunting us, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, there was a statement which was sought by Honorable Matthew, Mr. Speaker, on Kasim Tahani. We were facilitated, Mr. Speaker, to go and do a report outside the presence of the Assembly, Mr. Speaker. We came up with a report. It passed through the liaison, it went through the House business. The House business approved, and it was put on the order paper, Mr. Speaker. But, Mr. Speaker, when we wanted to table the report, Mr. Speaker, it was unfortunate that we were denied to table that report, Mr. Speaker. My big question is, Mr. Speaker, any report which has been developed, it has passed through the House business, it has been put in the order paper, Mr. Speaker, should be allowed to be tabled in the floor of the House, Mr. Speaker. It's the business of the debaters either to accept or to reject, Mr. Speaker, a report, Mr. Speaker. So, in fact, Mr. Speaker, that was a breach of the procedures and rules of this honorable House, Mr. Speaker. Because, Mr. Speaker, if it was not meeting the threshold, Mr. Speaker, from the word go, it should not be allowed to go through the House business, Mr. Speaker. How can you allow from the House business, you put in the order paper, and you don't allow it to be debated in the floor of the House, Mr. Speaker? I think, Mr. Speaker, that is one thing, Mr. Speaker, which it should be we should be looked at, Mr. Speaker. And I wish the legal department of this House, Mr. Speaker, should guide the table office, Mr. Speaker, on how the procedures of this honorable House, Mr. Speaker. Another thing, Mr. Speaker, is the fact that the honorable chair for water, Mr. Speaker, you know, it's not supposed only that after we raise the statement is when we bring the report, Mr. Speaker. We can deliberate on a matter even without a statement and come out with a progressive report of the department. It's not necessarily should be a statement. So, Mr. Speaker, those are some of the things, Mr. Speaker, which prejudice the work and demoralize the work of various committees, Mr. Speaker. I think, Mr. Speaker, the table office and your office, Mr. Speaker, should look at those issues, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, another challenge, Mr. Speaker, which we are facing as a House, Mr. Speaker, is the capacity. We are incapacitated in the process, in the process and procedures of bills, Mr. Speaker. I think it's so shameful that we have never passed any substantive bill in this House, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I urge your office, Mr. Speaker, to facilitate the members and the legal office, Mr. Speaker, and the various committees on development of various bills, Mr. Speaker. Because most of the bills are at the committee stages, Mr. Speaker, that it need to be processed so that at least we have several businesses, Mr. Speaker, within this House, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, there is one committee, Mr. Speaker. Although I'm a member in that committee, Mr. Speaker, I'm so ashamed to be in that committee, Mr. Speaker. The Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs Committee, Mr. Speaker. I think, Mr. Speaker, that is a committee, Mr. Speaker, which has lost focus completely, because there is no commitment from the chair and the vice chair, Mr. Speaker. It's so wrong to come and tell us here that there is no quorum in that committee. Quorum has always been there, but the problem is the chair and the vice, and it should be kept in record, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, there is no commitment from the chair and the vice chair, Mr. Speaker. Even yesterday when we had a serious deliberation on a petition which has lied in the House, Mr. Speaker, there was no commitment from the chair and the vice chair, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I think it is high time that the leader of the majority, Mr. Speaker, should look at the composition and the leadership of that committee. Because, Mr. Speaker, the last report, Mr. Speaker, they only sat for 7 sittings, Mr. Speaker. This time again, it is 7. And I'm so sure, Mr. Speaker, if it is look at Kinley, I think it is 1 or 2 times, Mr. Speaker. There has never been an agenda, because the agendas of a committee is developed by the chair and vice chair, Mr. Speaker. If the chair and the vice chair are always absent, there is no commitment. I think the committee will lack direction. So it's high time we shame the leadership of that committee, Mr. Speaker. And if they have no business in leading that committee, they should relinquish for nominated members who are willing to be chairs and to develop business in that committee, Mr. Speaker. It's not just being just chair and vice chair, having allowances without any business. Because right now, Mr. Speaker, we have almost 21 petitions in that committee, lying business. We have a lot of business in that committee. But why don't we disband? Because of the leadership, Mr. Speaker. So it is high time we cannot continue in that direction. So it's high time they relinquish their position and be just spectators, so that they can be led and be shown how business should be transacted. And they should be ashamed of themselves, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, there is some committees which have business, Mr. Speaker, like PAC, Mr. Speaker. They have a lot of business. It's high time they are facilitated again, Mr. Speaker, because they have a lot of business. Another committee, Mr. Speaker, which should be leading, Mr. Speaker, is the committee which is led by you, Mr. Speaker, Liason, Mr. Speaker. It's the second last 8, and when you see how it has compiled this thing, Mr. Speaker, I think it's ironical, Mr. Speaker. So I think the membership of that committee, Mr. Speaker, should pull up their socks, because if you see, in fact, the businesses in this report, Mr. Speaker, all are generated and passed through the liaison. So I think it's high time that we should have our game in that committee and facilitate members. Otherwise, Mr. Speaker, this progressive report is an eye-opener. It assists members to see on their performance, Mr. Speaker. And I think you should introduce, Mr. Speaker, the chair liaison, Mr. Speaker, should introduce a way of motivating the best committees performing committees, Mr. Speaker, so that it can at least activate other committees, Mr. Speaker. In fact, Mr. Speaker, I think going forward, Mr. Speaker, you should motivate so that at least even that committee should be facilitated to go to benchmark even in outside the country, Mr. Speaker, so that it be a motivation to other committees. Otherwise, thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
All right, thank you. I'll give to Rebel Weldon Rogony, then I'll give to the Vice Chair, JLAG, Rebel Amos Birir. So you'll be next.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I also rise to support the report before the House, tabled by Committee on Liaison. Mr. Speaker, mine is really very short, and I must thank the member who's just spoken, Mr. Speaker, because he's been very candid. He's spoken a number of things that I felt ought to have been said before this House. Mr. Speaker, one, if you look at the recommendations or the challenges from the various committees, it is either lack of quorum lack of training, or even lack of facilitation to attend to those site visits. Mr. Speaker, I'll not talk about the Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs because it's been evident. One time, Mr. Speaker, I remember we had a dispute, and we still have a dispute between Sondu and Kisumu. And the Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs from Kisumu County wrote to this House, to the Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs. I'm surprised when even we raised the issue, even the chairman of that committee had no idea that there was a communication from our counterpart from Kisumu, so that we talked about the boundaries. So it means, Mr. Speaker, that committee has not been able to do its work, and as the member has said, we invite the Honorable Majority Leader to reconstitute that committee, because if the committee is not doing what it is supposed to do, and it is out of the failure by the chairperson or the vice chair to be able to take the lead, then the same individuals have no business running that committee, because we have other able members who can do the job. Mr. Speaker, on the issue of the CEC failing to give information that is required, because you could see even from the ICT, even from the youth, the Committee on Youth Affairs, it is said that one, the CECs take time to give the information that the committee wants. Mr. Speaker, we need to summon these CECs because we have a duty as a House to be able to roll out the business of this House, and where information is not given by the executive, then there is nothing other than summoning them, Mr. Speaker. Number two, on the issue of failure to facilitate members, either by providing the motor vehicles that we are supposed to use to be able to go on site visits. Mr. Speaker, it is the duty of the County Assembly Service Board to ensure we have the vehicles that are required for the members to be able to undertake their duties. And lastly, Mr. Speaker, and that is through your committee, it's about time that also Liaison, whenever there is a request from a committee to be able to conduct its business outside this, the presence of the House, maybe out of this county, it should be provided for. But as I said before, if you look at, it is only, and I must congratulate the Committee on Lands, because they have had a number of sittings, the reports are there. Maybe it is because of the nature of the kind of work they are doing. But for the other committees, like we have a Committee on Finance, Committee on Trade, we have regulations, Mr. Speaker. We have acts without regulations. And we've proposed, even in my own Committee on Trade, that we need to go out, we look at those regulations so that we come and table before the House for those acts to be able to be used. So sometimes we are not given time because we are told we cannot be facilitated to go and do this. I want to request your committee, Mr. Speaker, that you act with speed, help support these committees. If we are required to go to Nakuru, for instance, get us that opportunity. And lastly, I want to urge the members here that whenever this county assembly, the leadership, has facilitated us to go and do something, it is because we are using money. And the work we are supposed to do, let us do the work commensurate with the money that we've been given at our disposal. Because it is also wrong for us to have, we have been given chance to conduct our business outside this assembly, and when it comes, the report is so shallow, and it doesn't, meet the threshold, like the one that the chairman Land has just talked about. But we came up with a comprehensive report that has far-reaching ramifications from the other side. So I support what the chairman has said, but at the same time, let us also be serious. Let us table facts. It will help us. With this, Mr. Speaker, I support the report. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Hamos Birid, the Vice Chair, Justice and Legal Affairs.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity you have given me so that I can contribute and support the motion. Actually, I was standing to answer what the Honorable Member has said, and I was surprised when an Honorable Member said the Committee of Legal and Justice is feeling ashamed and is among the members. How can Honorable Member who is among the committee be surprised and ashamed and say ashamed and is part of that committee? He better, if he has more knowledge, he is supposed to assist us because he's more civilized than us, and is somebody who has more, he's senior, he has more knowledge than others. He is supposed to sit down and give us assistance. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, allow me, I want to take action because my chairman is not around. So I am requesting Mr. Speaker to take action. I want my members for justice and legal, I want to call them immediately, and then I sit down and then I give the name, including my honorable member who is feeling ashamed and is among the members. He is a senior. Instead of giving us advice, he is feeling ashamed and is an honorable member. So, Mr. Speaker, thank you for this chance you have given me.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Honorable Albo Biril. So as you sit down, I just want to inform you that that you have the power as the chair or the vice chair to write to any member to show cause on why he or she is not attending meetings or participating. So you have the power. So make sure you exercise that power as the chair or the vice chair of that committee for any member who is not responsible. But your remarks have been noted, and please be guided accordingly. Yes, who is that? Honorable Hilary Kibet. All right.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to support this motion before us today. And maybe before I proceed, Mr. Speaker, allow me to air my condolences to the family of Mama Ellis, mother to one of our colleagues, Honorable Francis Terer. And maybe to remind again, honorable members, that tomorrow we shall be having fundraising on the same, and our funeral will be on Saturday. So, and on the same note again, I want to air my condolences to the family of Honorable Monica, who lost, I think, a cousin. Mr. Speaker, sir, the report before us today is so good, it's so comprehensive, but the challenges, Mr. Speaker, it's quite unfortunate that among the challenges we have is facilitation. And Mr. Speaker, sir, as a key role of honorable members, Mr. Speaker, is oversight, and meaning that we have to go to visit places to see what has been done by the department, Mr. Speaker. And it's quite unfortunate that we have vehicles around here. We usually put budget to facilitate the honorable members to do oversight, but again, Mr. Speaker, you realize that to date, among all the committees, Mr. Speaker, you realize that we have a lot of challenges, matters facilitation, Mr. Speaker. So we don't know, and we want to urge the board members, Mr. Speaker, to guide us on the same and tell us the real reason why we are not being facilitated to attend on the core agendas of this House, Mr. Speaker. Number two, Mr. Speaker, sir, is the implementation in the department, Mr. Speaker. You find, and especially when I say this, I am referring to my committee, the committee I'm chairing, Mr. Speaker, that's Finance and Economic Planning, Mr. Speaker. We have had a lot of discussions, we have had a lot of site visits, Mr. Speaker. We have had meetings in and out of this business present, Mr. Speaker. But again, you realize that the recommendations and resolutions we are coming up and they are tabling before the floor of the House, Mr. Speaker, are not being implemented on the other side of the department, Mr. Speaker. So we are urging the Committee on Implementation, Mr. Speaker, to enforce the provisions of the Government Acts, County Government Acts, Mr. Speaker, and the County Assembly Standing Orders, Mr. Speaker, to compel the department, Mr. Speaker, to act on the same. And if they don't act, Mr. Speaker, we urge the committee, Mr. Speaker, to summon those people and guide us on the same. And on the same note, Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the Secretariat for the good work they are doing. I personally, the Secretariat I have in my committee, Mr. Speaker, are doing a very good work. They are guiding us on the same, and I want to congratulate them and thank them, Mr. Speaker, sir. We have gone through the report, Mr. Speaker, and we realize that a lot of our committee, Mr. Speaker, a lot of the committees, Mr. Speaker, are having a lot of business, but I want to say that business is not a guarantee to success, Mr. Speaker. You find there are some committees who have had more than 26 sittings. They have done more than 16 site visits, Mr. Speaker, but they are yielding no fruits, Mr. Speaker. But you find, like this, Mr. Speaker, the liaison committee, they have no site visit, they have no many business, Mr. Speaker, but you are coming up with a comprehensive report. So we want what we are doing, Mr. Speaker, to be correlated with what comes out of those meetings, Mr. Speaker. With those very many remarks, Mr. Speaker, I want to support this motion. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Thank you so much, Honorable Gladys. And I'll give to the mover of the motion to reply.
Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker, for granting me this opportunity to concur with my colleagues on the comprehensive and detailed report that the liaison committee have come up with. Mr. Speaker, if I can remember very well, I sit on the committee on cooperative as the vice chair, and from the onset of forming this house, we used to be very active, and it is until that we were told, we used to make field visits, we used to do some reports on our field visits, but it is until that we were told that we cannot do field visits until a statement is raised. I concur with what Honorable Peter Kemoy said, that it is not a must that we wait for a statement to be raised on the floor of the House so that we can make a field visit. I can remember we've done many visits to some cooperative societies, including Tilolwet Ngeny in Londiani Ward, Mugumoini in Tolendo Soged, Subukia Farmers Cooperative Society. We have the reports and we have what the people on the ground told us. We were to do a report and table the report on the floor of the House, but we were afraid because we were told we cannot do that until a statement is raised. Now my concern is if a statement is not raised to a committee, what are the mandates of the committee? It's my plea that Honorable Speaker will look onto that. To us as a committee on cooperative, we feel that going to the field or doing our field visits will even allow us to do some good oversights and see what the people on the ground are going through. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Gladys. I will pronounce myself on that issue. There are two queries raised, one by Honorable Hezron Ngetich and the other one by Honorable Peter Kemoy, which has also been echoed by Honorable Gladys Bett. So after this motion, I will make a ruling on the same on the way forward on this particular weighty matters you've mentioned. I've seen Honorable Vice Chair Rhodes, Toby, before I give to the more permission to reply.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for allowing me to support this report. But before then, Honorable Speaker, I really want to commend the good work that the Liaison Committee did for tabling Speaker, this report actually cutting across the entire, the whole committees, in this house, had almost the same challenges. And one of the challenges I noted out is the lack of quorum in almost all. And it is very true that we've had challenges in terms of quorum in most of the committee meetings. When it comes to retreat, even though we are saying that we lack facilitation, but this is an area whereby almost all the members do like, because they get something out of it. But Honorable Speaker, we really want to ask ourselves, why are we here? My colleague mentioned something on the Committee on Legal and Justice. And I really want to support what he said, that it's high time that the majority leader relook at the composition of this committee. Because one, we have so many petitions. It happens that I'm a member, Honorable Speaker. We have so many petitions. Yesterday, we had one, petition coming to see us. But these petitions came way back. It's long. It's been long. So it shows that the chair and the vice, it's high time they relinquish their positions. It's not about, coming here to, to defend themselves. But we as members, we've always been trying to push them. We've been trying to push them, we've been trying to call them, we've been trying to do anything to support them. But they don't really measure up to show the seriousness on, of this committee. So my take as honorable member representing the great people of Kapsaus is that it's high time that you take up this matter and maybe we reconstitute this Justice and Legal Committee, because having in mind that we have over 20 petitions, and there's nothing we are doing. We are trying to push them. So we are not saying that they don't have the capacity. What we are saying is maybe they are engaged elsewhere. They don't even have time. They don't even have time, to sit with us. So we are not pushing you, but we are saying voluntarily, just relinquish, and then others take over, as chair, and we see way forward. Otherwise, I support the document, and thank you very much, for availing time, the entire Liaison Committee team, to get us such a wonderful report. It's an eye-opener. Let's pull up our socks, and then we move forward. I support. Thank you.
Thank you. Paul B. Before I give the mover of the motion to reply, what is the point of information of the Bonezero Ngetich?
Mr. Speaker, I wanted to inform the Honourables that it wasn't on malice that we are discussing the issue of justice and legal. Mr. Speaker, there is two petitioners who raised a petition on August. And they have been following, and then there was no response in the assembly. Those petitioners have been coming here to the assembly daily, nearly daily. I think you have seen that woman asking what is the progress of the petition we sent. So I think, Mr. Speaker, it's been so shameful because this is a mandate we are mandated to do. A member of the public is seeking answers from us, but we are not responding until the member of the public comes to the assembly to meet the secretariat to ask who is the chairman, where are the members, when are they sitting, when are they deliberating? Because the recommendation that FOTA requires is the recommendation of the committee so that he can get answers of her prayers. So, Mr. Speaker, that is the reason why we are saying I think it's high time, because apart from that, you know, on Justice and Legal Affairs, we are dealing with things which really touches the justice and services of people. So if we have been, if the members of the public have saw it well, that we go and seek prayers from this honorable house, and then here we come and we are not giving the solution. I think now it's high, the members of the public will lack confidence on the assembly and the operation. So apart from that one petition, we have another 20 petitions which are lying, Mr. Speaker. So it's not we don't have the agendas, we have the agendas. It's not that we don't have the members we are there. I think even you, as the Deputy Speaker, you are a member. Me, I'm a member. Honorable Bolby is a member. Mr. Speaker, we are all, we are ready. But even you know, we cannot call a meeting without the chairman and the vice chairman calling and setting the agendas, Mr. Speaker. So that is why we were saying, I think the chair and the vice chair, I don't want to say they don't have capacity. They have capacity, but they are committed. They are busy elsewhere. So it's high time so that at least the people of Kericho can get justice, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Move of the motion, you can reply.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I just want to sincerely thank this honorable house for giving quite a big consideration and deliberation on this report. And then I just want to urge members of each and every secretarial committee to take these observations and recommendations down to their sectorial committees. I think if they go and deliberate more on this report, it will be a turning around to our committees. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, thank you for this opportunity.
So, honorable members, I now rise to put the question that this House adopts the report of Liaison Committee for the half-year progress reports from 1st July 2023 to 31st December 2023. Will as many of similar opinions say aye, and will as many of contrary opinions say nay? The ayes have it. So, honorable members, I want to respond to able to look at that matter. We shall have it as a learning lesson. We shall review it and look at it procedurally on what should have happened, and we shall report it before the House that we will be able to communicate to the House. Secondly, is on the issue of the role of the committees on doing the oversight tours, like has been raised by Honorable Peter Kemai and Honorable Gladys Bett, on the issue of a committee using its own mandate to investigate and inquire. Honorable members, I want to pronounce myself very clear that this is as per the standing order number 205, and I want to read, just for the avoidance of doubt, because this is very clear. So the standing order number 205 is about sectoral committees. It talks about functions of sectoral committees of the House, and this is where we draw our interpretation. So read, we have 7 roles of sectoral committees. But I want to read the part A. We have the standing order part 205, part 5A, and also part D. And I want to read so that I will make myself very clear on that matter. So the functions of sectoral committees shall be to 1, investigate, inquire into, and report on all matters relating to the mandate, management, activities, administration, operations, and estimates of the assigned departments. And part D says study, assess, analyze the relative success of the departments as measured by the results obtained as compared with their stated objectives. And part E is where I want you to pay attention, is investigate, inquire into all matters relating to the assigned departments as they may deem necessary and as may be referred to them by the assembly. This is where I want to make it very clear. So this part, it says, as they may deem necessary, and as may be referred to them by the assembly. This part, as by the assembly, is where now the chair directs the chairman of that committee to inquire. This is where we ask you to give us the number of days. Like, for example, when a statement has been raised to the Committee on Lands, I will ask the chair to tell the House how many days it requires for he or she to give a report before the House. So this is where we say now, as may be referred to them by the assembly. The assembly in this case is this House, whereby we have raised a statement, and therefore we refer to you to give us feedback. But remember again, part E says that you investigate and inquire as may deem necessary. So you have the power as a committee to do your investigation on a matter that you feel you need to inquire and report before the House. So I want to say that it is very clear that every committee is therefore has powers and has the chance to inquire on all matters affecting your committee and report before this House using the same standing order number 205. That is why members, whenever we're tabling a report, we normally quote, we say, pass one to standing order number 205. I table the report of the Committee on Roads on the following. Why do we say so? It's because we're referring to the same standing order. So again, you can still investigate and say, pass one to standing order number 205. I table a report on Committee on Cooperatives, and you say that we did an oversight tour and were able to get to know of this problem we have in our cooperatives across the county. So that is very clear. So, and I think for the incident that happened previously, we have the legal team of the county assembly, plus also of the clerk and the speaker. We shall also have a meeting to review that particular case of water committee and also cooperative and land, because I believe if there were challenges, this House will be able to learn from them, and moving forward, we shall be able to support all committees without further hitch moving forward. I think I have made myself clear on that matter, and therefore I expect that moving forward, we'll be having a clear way forward. So, honorable members, there being no other business, this assembly stands adjourned until today at 2:30 p.m. Thank you.